Good Monday morning from the National Weather Service here in Raleigh, North Carolina. My name is James Morrow. I'm a meteorologist here, and I'm joined today once again by our Summer Hollings intern, Adam Weiner, who's going to help us with today's weekly impact weather briefing for Central North Carolina. This is Monday, July 15th. Covering for the next 7 days. But if you are tuning in a little bit later in the week on one of our social media channels, I highly recommend going to weather.gov/Raleigh for the latest weather information and up-to-date forecasts from us here at the National Weather Service. Taking a look at the visible satellite this morning, we had a couple of a small area of some low-level clouds this morning that has quickly burned off and left us with mostly clear but a little bit hazy skies out there as I look outside the office window here. At the NC State Centennial campus, but things are expected to remain relatively clear today with maybe some cumulus clouds popping in, especially across northeastern Piedmont. But there really isn't much to negate the warm sun that's been plastering us here the last several days. And heat is actually our main story of the day today, with a heat advisory issued with dangerous heat index values approaching 105 degrees expected anytime between noon and 7 p.m. this afternoon and evening. This is the third or fourth day in a row we've had a heat advisory for this area, and we're expecting this to be commonplace over the next week or so. And Adam will take us a little bit more into the forecast for that. But we are looking at some potentially dangerous heat indices as we go for the next several days. And it wouldn't surprise me to see some of this other western areas filling into this heat advisory, especially by the end of the work week into the weekend, with high temperatures beginning to climb as we progress through. So Adam, I'll let you take it from here and let us know what to expect this week.
Thanks, James. Good morning, everyone. So taking a look at the weather pattern, we're expected to mainly be in a summer-like pattern, although we have a cold front dipping into the northern portions of the state early this week. That's expected to move back northward as a warm front during the midweek period, resulting in high pressure taking over and resulting in very warm to really just hot conditions, typical of the midsummer. So we are expecting, as a result of being in the midsummer, hit or miss storm chances with just pop-up showers or storms. Some people can see a good amount of rain, others will most likely not. And those that do receive the rainfall will obviously see a drop in temperatures, and that will persist through the rest of the day, while most other people will see those hot temperatures remain across their area. So with heat being the primary hazard, we are expecting high temperatures mainly in the 90s, a lot of areas in the middle 90s, in fact, with potentially dangerous heat index values expected through the week and into the weekend. Taking a look at the severe weather potential, given that this is a typical summertime pattern, we're expecting, again, pop-up showers and storms. Nowhere in the way of severe weather is expected as a result of this typical pattern. With no strong cold fronts or systems pushing in, we can expect, again, just pop-up hit or miss showers and storms with maybe there could be some strong wind gusts or heavy rainfall and dangerous lightning, but again, no organized severe weather potential is expected. Taking a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast, we can see that these maps show area average precipitation, and subsequently we can see mainly light QPF or precipitation amounts expected across the state for this week. Although with the cold front nearby, there could be some more focused chances of precipitation up in the northeast Piedmont. But otherwise, again, most of the region will be hit or miss, with some areas seeing a good amount of rainfall, potentially closer to a half or an inch. But other areas most likely seeing little to nothing as these storms pop up and dissipate quickly. Taking a closer look at North Carolina, we can see, again, that we're expecting mainly light amounts of precipitation, less than an inch in the northeast Piedmont, and values generally smaller than that in other parts of the state. But once again, just keep in mind these are area averaged, and subsequently some areas may not see any precipitation this week, while others can see potentially an inch or more underneath any heavy thunderstorms.
Yeah, taking a look at the tropics, we do have the remnants of what was Hurricane Barry earlier this week. It became a hurricane right before it pushed ashore along the Louisiana coastline. It continues to meander a little bit further north. Now it's sitting at a rather weak tropical depression, but producing quite a bit of rainfall, especially across the Mississippi River Valley here. Other than Barry and the remnants of Barry, we're actually seeing a very quiet, at least 5-day graphical tropical outlook here, especially in the Atlantic Basin. So while Barry did allow for some excitement, especially along the Gulf Coast, things look to be quieting down at least for the next 7 days, or 5 to 7 days or so. But we are getting into the more active part of tropical season. So Barry may just have been the first appetizer with some more to come. So it's always important to have those tropical plans in place and always have a plan ready. And normally this time, or at least for us here in North Carolina, that August to September to early October timeframe can be some of the most active timeframes across our area. So we'll definitely be ready here at the National Weather Service. And if you want more information, we invite you to go to weather.gov/RAH, RAH/tropical for the latest tropical weather information. Taking a quick look at drought, not much in the way of changes between last week and this week. We did see some D0 abnormally dry conditions introduced across the southern Piedmont and the foothills of North Carolina. But further east, where they saw a little bit of rain, they kind of kept most of the things the same, and that trend looks to be continuing. Although they're not without much QPF in the forecast over the next 7 days or so, we could see some of this expanding, especially as we get on later in the month. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, Adam. I'm bringing you back in here. But heat is going to be the main player that we are seeing here across Central North Carolina. Do you have some heat tips for us and things to look out for and to do, especially whether you're just taking your dog for the walk or if you're at work and you're working outside or just, interacting with the outside world? What can we do to stay safe?
Yeah, certainly. Considering that we're having persistent temperatures, mainly in the 90s, with heat indices reaching over 100 degrees across central North Carolina. Some things you can do to stay safe include drinking plenty of water if you are outside, as well as wearing lightweight, loose-fitting clothing. And if you are working outside, of course, take frequent rest breaks in either shaded or air-conditioned environments to reduce the strain and stress on your body due to the heat. In addition, reserve exercise for the early morning or late evening hours, which are especially in the morning, the coolest part of the day, or in the evening when the sun is not bearing down on you. It can certainly cool down, and it'll be less strain on your body as well. Yeah. In addition, know the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and know that heat stroke is indeed an emergency, and if you encounter someone who is undergoing heat stroke, you must call 911 to deal with an emergency immediately.
Yeah, those are great points. And another thing that are often overlooked is we're not the only ones impacted by heat, but often pets can be very impacted by heat, whether they're outdoor pets or indoor pets, that are outside taking a break or taking a walk. Mm-hmm. They can certainly be impacted. And of course, always check your car before you lock it up. And if you have a child in the back seat or an animal or a pet, the car temperatures can heat up very quickly, especially in direct sunlight. So take precautions there and just to make sure to keep yourself safe. And as we go on throughout the week, the dew points are really going to be the issue because they're going to start rising and rising. Mm-hmm. And anytime those dew points rise, even a 95-degree temperature can result in heat index values approaching 105 to even 110 degrees. So we'll have to keep close watch on that.
Yeah, indeed. Make sure that your pets have access to cool water and shade if they are outside, and that, of course, you check to make sure that any children or pets in a vehicle that you take with you are taken out of the vehicle before you leave, and do not even think that a short time period is okay to leave anyone in a vehicle. They can heat up very, very quickly.
Yep, look before you lock.
And indeed, also for urbanized areas such as Raleigh and Durham and other cities, heat islands can intensify extreme heat and result in locally higher heat index values in and around the city as compared to outside the cities, which are more which can be a little bit cooler. So again, keep those in mind, and of course, again, air-conditioned environments, drink plenty of water, and stay safe in the heat.
Yeah, and taking a look at a little bit further in the future, the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook doesn't give us much relief from the heat. We're still looking at above normal chances of heat or of above normal. Above normal heat over the next 8 to 14 days. We have about 50 plus chance of seeing that. And precipitations are near neutral. We kind of don't have a clear signal on whether or not we'll have higher than normal or lower than normal precipitation chances over that time frame. So no clear signal there. But just take a look at your 7-day. We're seeing those high temperatures, at least for the Raleigh metro area, in those mid to even upper 90s. With not much relief in the overnight period. Take a look at that. We're only looking at a low temperature of around 75, 76 degrees each night. And there really isn't much in the way of relief, especially for any pets that are outdoor pets or animals that are outdoor animals. So keep that in mind. Make sure everybody has plenty of water. And even if you're going out at night, you're going to probably end up sweating quite a bit. So making sure those fluids stay in your body is important. Quick look at the summary. High pressure settles over the area for much of the work week. That's going to keep this normal summertime heat and humidity pattern commonplace. Storm chances increase slightly midweek. We may have a few additional storms on Thursday, but for the most part, these hit or miss showers and storms are going to continue most afternoons and evenings without much of a severe threat. Dangerous heat and heat index are the primary hazards all week long and likely continuing into next weekend. And drought conditions are mostly unchanged. Along with tropical is looking to quiet down after Barry caused a little bit of excitement in this early season. So we'll go ahead and pause the presentation, and we'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.